How's it going, everybody? This is DeanoGTO, and today we're going to be looking at the Fv4202, and we're going to be talking about its primary weakness. Now, I've been driving this tank a wee bit more often lately, and I've come to the conclusion that this vehicle is actually pretty good. However, it has one substantial weakness which stops it from being popular. And the reason I have the M46 Patton KR here is in order to try and kind of show off this weakness. So I will get to it whenever we get to the end of this game, but I'm going to play this game. I'm going to try and show you how good this vehicle actually is, and then I'm going to show you what the problem is after this replay is over, because you will be able to see it, and I have played enough games in this thing to notice a consistent trend with the issue that this thing has. So we will get to that at the end of this game. So let's try and play this game out normally from the start, and also feel free to skip this game if you want to. I really don't mind too much, but you might want to see like how this tank plays if you're interested in this machine whatsoever. He's got E75's comment there. Wants to super heavy small liner, but this is the 6th game he's had in a row without artillery. Yep. That's exactly why I never ran the super heavy small liner on any of my heavy tanks, except the mouse for a brief period of time. The reason for that there is pretty much because, well, every time you have it equipped, there's no artillery. Every time you don't have it equipped, you have like 3 artilleries per game. It's ridiculous, and it's also probably annoying, so I decided to go with the consistency instead of the potentially really useful small liner, because, well, Baron HE seems to become a little bit more reasonable these days. People seem to do it a little bit more often, but honestly, super heavy small liner, it's good, but it's kind of limited, and wow, that was actually pretty successful. I really didn't expect to launch a shot from that guy. There, I think he has a 183 gun. And yep, get a free shot in the rain. Managed to fall back in time for this 4 mod 1 to not get a shot into me. See, this is the problem whenever you're dealing with tanks that have 10 degrees of gun depression in your, I think 7 or 6 degrees of gun depression. But yeah, like in your tanks with like lesser amounts of gun depression. And that is like, whenever you're in this sort of tank, you can kind of like dictate just combat a lot better than you can in a lower gun depression vehicle. You pretty much have to rely on the enemy coming to you if you're with low gun depression, and you can actually approach the enemy if you have the high gun depression. And wow, this gun is just hitting the shots consistently here, which is pretty nice to see. Oh, there's 1390. Oh wow, he's using the 75. That's unexpected. Oh yeah, I guess that's right. You can't actually like cheese the 90mm anymore because they made a different gun from the M46 90mm. If you don't know, a cheeky way of getting the 90mm on the 1390 was to pretty much just grind through to the M44, unlock the 170-10 90mm gun, and then after that there you had the top gun for the 1390 unlocked, ready to use by the time you got it. Honestly, that was the main reason I went down the French heavies initially, and then I wound up liking them to an extent, so I decided to just keep going pretty much. And I don't know whereabouts I'm positioned here. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Didn't expect to see that, and I'm amazed that 1390 is gonna let that guy to die. Bit of a dick move for that guy. Wonder why he did that. Like, if I had, personally, whenever I see a teammate that managed to like Austin Powers themselves, I usually try and help them out, but apparently I'm in the minority, as I've noticed from like the many times I've actually seen that sort of shit happen. But it's like the enemy team just leaves their own teammates just to like die and be useless. Sometimes from greed, sometimes it's just because, well, it's a platoon mate. It's hilarious. It is pretty hilarious though whenever it is a platoon mate, whenever like the platoon mate's just like leaving their platoon mate on their side pretty much. And I have maintained my health though, so I'm relatively confident just kind of like rushing towards this guy. However, I do know he's going to reload soon because I've driven that tank with the 120. And he has fired his gun. Ah, damn it. It takes a lot longer to drive through than I expected. Okay, got to farm some assistance damage there as well. ISU is over there. 1390 is still alive. The object 57 is near our base. I wonder where the 1390 went to the captain and left. I wonder what his plan is. He's probably going to be down here, if I'm honest, if I had to guess. So I'm going to head over in this general direction, because I still have a decent amount of health. I can take a full clip of damage from the 1390. Or well, I should probably call it 1375 for this scenario, because, well, he only has 75mm, and I was right. He is over in this direction. And I missed. What a whiff. And the thing is, he's not going to be able to kill the SE-48. And, well, he's just pretty much screwed himself here. Yep. He tried to, like, ramp over that. Didn't really work out for him, but yeah, not a bad game there. So now we should hopefully be able to see the weakness of this machine. Because as you've seen from there, that game there, it's a pretty good vehicle for the most part, but it has a significant weakness, and we are going to see that now. So, let's see, first class mastery, 3500 damage, and also, like, I have noticed it's actually a lot more difficult than it used to be to actually ace this thing. But, yeah. Look at the credits I would have made in this game if I'd been running a standard account. Bear in mind, I did 3500 damage, and I only missed 2 shots. But bear in mind, that costed me 11,560 credits to fire the shots I fired in that game. So just going to take a little minute just to quickly explain something. So I didn't do the recordings back to back because I needed to get a game that was roughly equivalent to the FV's game, and I tried to do it based off of damage. If it was within 1,000 damage of the FV's game, then I was roughly happy enough. And that was basically what I was going for. That's why I didn't want to compare a 1500 damage game in the M46 to a 3500 damage game in the FV. Because if you do that, then, well, it's not really very equivalent. It doesn't really tell you much. So yeah. And also one last thing. Looking back at the recording of the M46 section, there was this bit at the start where I was just the most confusing mess ever. So I decided to take that out. And basically to summarize what I was trying to say. Basically, personal damage is more efficient for making credits than assistance damage. So more personal damage will get you more credits than the same amount of assistance damage. Pretty much what I was trying to say. That sums it up. So yeah, let's go on to the M46 section. So that's why I'm trying to go for at least a 3000 damage game. And theoretically, the M46 should be at a disadvantage if it does it in a tier 8 or lower match. And by the way, the reason I say or lower is because this thing can theoretically meet down to tier 6s, however, but the bulk of the matchmaking for tier 8 seems to be against other tier 8s. So yeah, I don't really mind too much if I do it in a tier 8 game. It would be nice. Also, one thing I have noticed is this thing's armor has been trolling the shit out of me. Like, I have been trying to go hold down and use the turret on this thing, thinking it was going to be like an M4 or like an M26 Pershing's armor. However, that is not the case. This thing has, like, if you hit anywhere on this tank outside of the gun mantlet, and honestly, that tank there would probably be the better comparison to the Fv4202, but I don't have one of those and I don't have a good crew to put in it if I did have it. So, like, this thing here, like, its main flaw is its relatively low penetration. However, it does make up for that in a couple of ways. One of them being its really, really good soft stats. Like, soft stat wise, this thing's nearly unrivaled. And I can balls it up a little bit. Oh wow, a little black belt lover. It's pretty cool looking. Let's see. Yeah, luckily this machine's just ability to just fire instantly is incredible. It's very good just dealing with people with really close range, and unfortunately that T-44 is dead. Ah, well. Okay, I was going to kill that guy for you, S3, but okay. Let's see. Yeah, always nice to go for a shot in the T-54 Mod 1 if you can, because those things when they're angled right are very hard to kill. So let's see, let's go for Lova now. Damn it, I wasn't sure if he'd fired or not, but he hadn't. we'll get another one shot off before he's reloaded, and that's him dead. 2100 damage at this point. One thing that's nice about the M4A1 Rev is I don't think the mantler armor really does much on that tank, and that was a little disappointing. I was hoping to get the kill on that guy, but never mind. So, I think the mantlet armor on that machine's actually pretty poor. And actually thinking about it, I don't really like pushing this direction. Actually, I've just noticed, yeah, defend the base, defend the base, defend the base. That's a good call, that's a good call, yeah. Like, there's one Fv4202, Jagdpanther 2, I think it is, versus, well, it looks like about 3 or 4 enemy vehicles. That may not end well. And there's a T-28 down there. However, T-28, if it doesn't want to be penetrated, you're going to be hard pressed to actually penetrate reliably. Although, theoretically, if you're above it, it should be a little easier. So I'm going to head down here towards where this STRVS-1 is. Hopefully the IS-3 can nail him, thank you for that. Because I really can't do much to those things. Because, you know, 90mm gun, overmounting mechanics, you know how it works. Although I should probably make a video on that there, because I feel like I could do a good job explaining that. Although my explanations and stuff are not particularly good sometimes. But sometimes they can be, well, a little different from how other people would explain them. So, let's see. I'm hoping that if I drop down here, there won't be anyone over there. Doesn't seem to be. I just need to not get myself killed. And focus on this T-28. It's almost immediately going to turn its attention to me if I had to guess. However, well, if you can't turn its tank, then he's kind of useless. What is happening? I think I shot the wrong area there, if I'm honest. It was my bad. I should really be able to get up to the 3000 damage mark here, considering there's just an Fv4202, T44, Carnarvon remaining. However, T44 is very low health, not really much point in me going after that guy specifically, so I may as well head towards these other guys, even though they're probably waiting in an ambush. I should say, what the hell is a Carnarvon? Not that fast. And yeah, he's right there. One shot into him. Now theoretically, if I can get one more shot into him, that should be enough to reach the 3000 damage mark. Okay, so I'm very close to it. It's just the T44 remaining. Okay, so I'm actually going to call that as close enough, pretty much, because it's within... It is 700 damage down on the game that I got in the Fv4202. So it could actually still be pretty decent amount lower, credits wise. Right, so I will be back again in a minute. I'm going to have to just quickly go back and check, even though you've already seen what the results are. I will have to actually go back and check, because it was a couple of days ago that I played the FV game. So yeah, back in a minute. Okay, so now it's time for the comparison at the end. Otherwise known as a conclusion, which would make more sense. So, in the FV game, I fired 17 shots, all 15 shots which hit, also penetrated, which gave me 3500 damage. However, the downside to the FV is the actual shell cost was 11,560 credits at the end of the battle. Now compare this directly to the M46. I fired 21 shots, 18 hit, and 13 penetrated, so that's a significantly worse ratio. However, it costed 5,355 credits to do that damage, and that's with a bunch of misses and stuff included. Now when you actually look at the actual amount of credits earned at the top of the screen, this one earned 81,217. Yes, I'm using the without premium account numbers because it's more relatable for more players. So 81,217 credits in the FV in comparison to 67,069 credits in the M46. So one thing I am going to also take into account with the FV game is I didn't use a consumable in that game, which also helps out the vehicle, because instead of just being just below 67,000 credits, honestly that should be just below 64,000 credits, because in most games, 9 times out of 10, you're going to use some sort of consumable in your match. So I think it's more representative if you say this thing would have made about 64,000 credits for a game like that, in comparison to this thing here making 55,000, because this thing did use a consumable in its match. So yeah, overall, in theory, if the M46 had done the same amount of damage as the FV, it looks like, based off of the economic stats here, it looks like the M46 would have been technically the better credit maker. However, when you take into account the consistency of the guns, it would be very difficult to consistently get over 2,500 damage games in the M46, I might say. The M46's gun is nowhere near the level of the FV's. The FV's gun, that penetration difference of, I think it's 34 millimeters of penetration, and the just overall accuracy and aiming time and stuff, help the FV out so much. It's so much more reliable and dependable than the M46. And in my opinion, that makes up the difference in the shell cost, and it allows you to do the damage more consistently. Sure, you may not make as many credits. Well, sure, you may have the economic repercussions out there in the form of the ammunition costs. However, in some games in the M46, when you're in a tier 10 match, it's very, very hard to penetrate tier 10s in the M46. However, in the FV, it's a lot more reasonable to do so, because you have more penetration than the M46 Patton at tier 9 and the E50. So you have, theoretically, tier 9 medium tank penetration at tier 8. So you have some feasible way of dealing with tier 10s in this vehicle in comparison to the M46, which just isn't really as realistic. So yeah, that's my conclusion. I think, in effect, the FV is the better credit maker, but the potential of the M46 is higher, but in practice, the FV is probably the better credit maker. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of that conclusion. Do you think I'm not making sense? And have you driven the FV or the M46? If so, which one did you prefer? And do you think my conclusion makes sense? Like, I'm really curious, because I honestly think the FV is the more reliable, consistent vehicle. However, the M46 has the potential, but that potential is very, very... It's not going to be anywhere near as consistent in getting out that damage as the FV would be. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.